Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Doofus, and welcome back to SACRE BLEU by Christopher Moore. Today we're covering chapters 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. I hope you've read up to that point because I do not want to ruin anything for you. Chapter 18 has Lucen and Henry visiting the professor and sitting down to get hypnotized. Lucen is just kind of looking at the clock saying, "It's 2:15, it's 2:15, it's 2:15. The professor's like, "That's not what I meant, just follow it with your eyes." And it doesn't really work. So Henry takes the watch and puts a bit of blue paint on the watch and swings it back and forth. And Lucen is taken back to when he believes he first met the color blue. And he's taken back to a time when he was probably 12 or 13, and he was helping out the painter Monet, and they were painting a train station. And Monet had told the trains to build up a lot of steam, a ton of steam. And so they did. And miraculously, Monet had painted 6 paintings in half an hour, when usually it takes these painters like 6 or 7 hours just to paint one painting. Lucen is snapped out of his hypnotic trance, and he finds that he is covered in rain. And Henry theorizes that maybe when Lucen went back, he was actually there, and that's why he is covered in rain, and Henry and the professor are not. Then we have the Color Man, and he is trying to sell paint to the painter George Seurat. And if you recognize Seurat for anything, it would be for his paintings that use tiny little dots rather than to swipe the paint across to fill the areas. Lucen hops on a train to go visit his buddy Monet, and when he gets there, Monet is painting but not using the color blue, and they sit down to discuss that moment at the train station. And Monet confesses that the color blue actually helps him to stop time so that he can paint faster. He has a painting that many people have thought was morbid of his dead lover, and it wasn't because he was fascinated with the dead woman. He was trying to paint her to hold on to her. He was trying to paint her to stop time so that he could save her, and it's all very touching. Then we have the Color Man going into the caverns trying to retrieve a blue painting because he is running out of the color blue and he needs the painting in order to create the color blue. Lucen comes back and he's talking to his friend Henry. I believe this was at the bar, and he's telling him all about the time-stopping powers of the color blue. And then we go back to the living area of the Color Man and Juliet. And we find that Juliet is walking around a bit like a doll, a mechanized doll, and we find out that Juliet is dead. The only time that that body is alive is when the color blue is inside of it. Juliet's dead? Friendship over, Chris! Friendship over! I can't believe you did this to me! Why? The reason Blue isn't in Juliet right now is because she is possessing a small, I believe, Indonesian girl who is going off to the bar to retrieve Lucen's giant nude of Juliet that he painted in blue. And it's a very funny scene because Blue believes like she is imbibed with strength and power, and when she tries to break into the bar, she doesn't take physics into effect, and so when she kicks the door, it opens, but only enough so that it bounces back because it's chained together and knocks her on her ass. And that's funny to me, probably because I'm morbid. Lucen goes to visit Henry, and this time Henry is definitely at a whorehouse because that's pretty much where he lives now. Lucen is telling him that his painting, the blue nude of Juliet, is missing, so they need to gather forces and find out where it went. They meet up with a painter named Paul Goughlin, find that he is being haunted by the spirit Blue, who I think is still in the Indonesian girl, trying to seduce him into painting her so that she can have another painting of Blue and more power. The boys are talking with Paul, and he says that Ted Van Gogh, Vincent's brother, just died of syphilis. And so, knowing this news, the boys go to the funeral to comfort his wife. The color blue comes back to the Color Man in the Indonesian woman and sees the Juliet body completely naked doing household chores. Of course, she's angry, pissed. They're looking over this painting that a painter Manet painted, talented, and she kind of flashes back to when he died, and you see how she truly cared for that artist and truly loved that artist, giving you the idea that maybe she doesn't hate these artists and maybe she doesn't want these artists to die. It's just kind of a curse that she has. And the color man gets ready to strip more blue or from the Indonesian girl's body. They both strip naked and she does her little writhing dance, and he scrapes the blue powder from her body as it just kind of pushes through her pores. And then the Indonesian girl gets up and she goes over to Juliet, and as she's getting dressed she tells Juliet to scream, and Juliet starts screaming, and she pulls out the color man's revolver and she shoots the color man 5 times in the chest and he falls dead. And that's when I'm just like, the color man's dead? Friendship over, Chris! Friendship over! I mean, not really, but friendship over! I mean, you're cool and all, but friendship over! Why? Why? Juliet collects her clothes, runs out of there right as the bishop comes up and sees the dead body, framing the Indonesian girl. And that's where our section ends today. The question that I have for you is, if you could be possessed by anyone or anything, who or what would it be? The question that I had yesterday was, when was the last time that you experienced heartbreak? Boy howdy, can I just keep on coming up with more and more depressing questions for a very fun, very hilarious book. Sorry. The time that I had my heart broken, other than the time that you've seen, was my first girlfriend. She decided that we were going to move in together. So we move in together into this room of a house that was her sister's ex-boyfriend's parents. And the father of the parents was dying of cancer. He was the only one that was really on my side, because 2 weeks after I moved in, she dumped me. And I had to stay there because I had nowhere else to go. Yeah, that kind of sucked. That really, really kind of sucked. Do not forget that the next book that I'll be reading is The Wastelands by Stephen King. Go out and grab it by any legal means necessary. Borrow it from a friend, borrow it from a library, buy it at a bookstore, buy it on a Kindle. I don't care what you do as long as it's legal and you read it before I ruin it for you. I've been Elliot the Purple Hair Doofus, reminding you to watch up Gemeridius, and I will see you all in the next section of SACRE BLEU by Christopher Moore. Toodles!